Hello, Highland Middle School. I'd like to take a few minutes of your time and continue this little friendly reminder series that I started last week with the first video I sent out. Touch base on some things that we're doing well and some, friendly reminders we need to keep in mind. So today I'm going to talk about 4 things that we need to keep in mind. First, talking about park expectations. The first thing you need to know about park expectations is the school district does not own the park. It is a city park. It is owned by the town of Ault. They are allowing us to use it as their guests. They don't have to do that. They are allowing us to. So we need to be respectful of that, because if we're not, at any point in time, they could come in and say no more. Okay, the park is off limit to students during the school day. And if they do that, there's not a thing I can do about it. There's not a thing you can do about it. That's the way it's going to be. If the mayor were to say, you guys aren't doing it right, we're out. And then that's going to limit us to basically the practice field grass area where there's not any swings, there's not really any benches. It's just a big grass field. So we are definitely better off to have access to that park. So a few things we need to keep in mind on the park are, first of all, the priority goes to little kids. So if you see little kids on the swings, slides, or anywhere in that area that's, kind of contained by the wood ties, we can't be in there. If one kid's in there, we have to stay away. And it's not stand right next to it, making the people feel uncomfortable. It means like stay away, like 20 feet away, 25 feet away. Go do something else, okay? We're guests, okay? We have to do what we're asked to do, and that is, if there are little kids, we got to stay away. It's real simple. Secondly, they have given us a very specific directive not to stand on tables. If you're standing on tables, we're going to get kicked out of there, okay? I guess there were a couple that got broke last year, and so you can't do it. Do not stand on tables. If I get word we're standing on tables, man, we're going to be out of there. I don't want that. The third thing is the spinny thing, the blue spinny thing. That last year, if you'll remember, we got kicked off of it. So you need to use it correctly, which means no more than 2 people on there at a time ever. Okay. Again, if we don't do it right, we're going to get kicked out. And the same thing goes for, we need to keep it clean. If there gets to be too much trash laying around, they could say no more, you're not taking care of it. So again, we're guests and we need to be respectful in that way. Second thing, kind of continuing with outside expectations, one area that always causes, a few headaches is those of you who participate in football or basketball, okay? Rule of thumb, there's no reason anybody should ever be shoved in either one of those games. That's not part of football. You don't shove people. You don't shove people in basketball. That's a way we'll lose that privilege. I love sports as much as anybody. There's probably not a bigger Bronco fan than me in this building, so I like watching you play football. But you got to do it the correct way. You are down when you are touched. It doesn't matter if you are touched with one hand, 2 hands, 1 pinky, whatever. The second you are touched, you are down. Okay, no blocking. There's no point in blocking. You don't have pads on. There's no blocking. You're down when you're touched. Okay, the fun of football should be throwing the ball and catching the ball. That's pretty much all it should be at recess when you're not padded. Those of you that are going to play football when you're at school, or when you get older in the high school, when you go to these camps, that's the way it is. I've been to a ton of them. Okay, if you're in a 7-on-7 camp at CSU, that's the same rules they follow. So no blocking, you're down at first contact, and there is absolutely no reason people should be shoved, pushed to the ground, pushed out of the way for any reason. So that should help with football. The same goes to basketball. Do not be pushing and shoving. There's no reason anybody should hit the ground. That is something that will cause problems. I think people are getting the hang of the folder pull thing. That's the third thing I want to talk about. I used it this morning for the first time for a student that made a poor choice outside. So I had him pull his folder. He brought it to me. We went to the last page, the non-instructional page. I filled it out. It's a warning. It's not a big deal at this point. It will become more of a big deal if he continues. Okay? So the non-instructional time, if you get to the point where you lose non-instructional time, that means you lose the cafeteria and the park. So you're going to have to eat lunch in the office and hang there while all of your buddies are at the park. People seem to be picking up on that pretty well. Again, if you make a mistake and you do it once, a minor mistake, just learn from it. Don't turn it into a worse situation. Learn from it and move on, and don't make it again. And it's not the end of the world. You make the same mistake 4 or 5 times, now you're really going to start to lose some things. Okay, and my last point today is I want to go back to where I started. The very first point I made on day 1 when we were in the cafeteria meeting, that the first point, you be you. You take care of you. I'm starting to get a little bit of this about he said I should do this or she said I should do this. Who cares? When I was a kid, my dad would say, if they tell you to jump off a cliff, are you going to do it? Well, of course not. The same thing applies. Who cares what someone told you to do? You're responsible for you. There's a big green sign by the office that says that you're responsible for what you say and do today. You take care of you. You're responsible for what you do. Don't worry about what other people say. Don't worry about what other people are doing. I promise you, school will be a better experience if you simply worry about you and you make your own decisions. That's what I have for you today on the friendly reminders. Please implement the suggestions I've made. Make sure we're taking care of that part. Compete correctly in the athletic events and make good decisions by taking care of yourself. Thanks and have a great day.